I just shared with my colleagues that I'm withdrawing my name as a candidate for the Speaker designee. If you look at over the last few weeks, if you look at where our conference is, there's still work to be done. Our conference still has to come together and is not there. There are still some people that have their own agendas. And I was very clear, we have to have everybody put their agendas on the side and focus on what this country needs. This country is counting on us to come back together. This House of Representatives needs a speaker, and we need to open up the House again.
Boo, no, you wanna work for the American people? Boo, David Duke's better. So that was Steve Scalise there, Representative Scalise, who this week withdrew his nomination for speakership after he was basically got a majority of Republicans to vote for him in this showdown between himself and Representative Jim Jordan. House Republicans are planning to meet again today. This is Friday morning. It's unclear when they're gonna begin voting on the House floor, but why did Scalise withdraw his name after it seemed like everyone was in agreement? Well, his downfall came just a few days on Capitol Hill that put Republican divisions on vivid display. Scalise surpassed Jordan during the internal party contest by just 14 votes. But rather than consolidating his base of backers, Mr. Scalise almost immediately began hemorrhaging supporters as lawmakers from several factions publicized that they did not intend to fall in line behind him. In other words, he didn't want to be the guy that was gonna get voted in after like 20 rounds, or maybe not voted in after 20 rounds. Some of the dissenters were Nancy Mace, who I guess feigned like she cared that he was called David Duke without the baggage. Marjorie Greene and Lauren Boebert obviously didn't vote for Scalise, they voted for Jim Jordan. Marjorie Greene didn't vote for Jim Jordan because of his blood cancer, which, yeah, Marge has a heart of gold. Like, you need to fight your blood. Like, no, I don't know. When I first read that, I was like, I feel like this is a slight. Like, you don't care about him. You're just ew, you've got cancer, gross.
Well, she and Gates went on a podcast together to say that the reason that Jamie Raskin was fighting so hard was because his kid just killed himself. That's why he's deranged and going through it right now. That's why he cares about America.
Good Christians.
So it's not without precedent.
So obviously Jim Jordan's like, is it my turn? But of course, a lot of GOP members are like, I don't think we can elect this guy. A lot of folks don't think he can get the 217 needed. Representative Mike Garcia of California said the way Jim Jordan's supporters acted after he lost would make it hard for some in the conference to back the Ohioan. There's no confirmation of what went down, but it's like, did they lock the doors? And we're like, how dare you? Like, what happened when Jordan lost? Anyway, Garcia continued, he said, there's an academic debate about whether we reward the tyranny of the minority in this case. The problem is, I think there's enough people that would see what has happened and transpired over the last 40 hours and not support him. This is Jim Jordan. And that we're gonna have the same problem with Jordan that we had with Scalise. Yes, because you've got moderate Republicans on the other side who have felt it's particularly risky to vote for Jim Jordan, who is closely aligned with former President Donald Trump. While members do not know what kind of policy prescriptions Jordan would make the House vote on, swing district Republicans worry that his MAGA bona fides and name recognition nationally could negatively affect their reelection chances. Or the fact that wrestlers from Ohio State are currently speaking out against Jim Jordan's speakership. Like, what about that baggage? You know what I mean? Like, it's also crazy, Brett, when you hear Scalise talk, who by the way looks like Mickey Mouse. I don't know, I don't have anything to back up that up, but if Mickey Mouse were like a white man, why does Scalise look like Mickey Mouse to me? Or like a glowworm, like a Mickey Mouse glowworm. There's something going on, but anyway.
He looks like Robin Williams and Mrs. Doubtfire when he does an impression of a hot dog.
So specific, so very Brett. Thank you for that. That is. Oh, now I'm remembering that. But it's also like his, that quote there of like, we need to get to work for the American people. You don't hear that from a lot of Republicans, right? You hear we need to get to work stopping Joe Biden's agenda, i.e., shutting down the government. I feel like Republicans won't be happy unless there is a month or 2 or 3 government long shutdown, because they realize, especially when it comes to the impeachment inquiry into Biden, they like caught up with the car as they're the like pack of dogs, and now they're like there and like, oh no, I'm under the wheel. No, let's back off the car, slow everything down, because we clearly don't have the evidence we need to point to the big Biden crime family conspiracy.
Also, Steve Scalise looks like the version of Sonic the Hedgehog they had to digitally reimagine from square one.
That is actually it.
But yeah, so that's it. It's so funny. Like, what works in intra-party politics doesn't really, the only person who can make it work on a national scale is literally Donald Trump. All his little minion babies are worse at it. Strangely, Matt Gaetz is the best at it, but it's still a losing strategy. Yeah. It's a winning strategy for them to win certain concessions and seem like they're in charge of this thing, but essentially you're just king of the ashes. Mm-hmm. And that's what they're in. And so they're in these, like, I don't know. I worked as a writer's assistant under Dan Harmon, and the smartest thing I ever heard him say was talking about studio executives who are like giving conflicting notes, like a child saying, oh, would you like 1,000 pounds of candy? Yes. Would you like a stomach ache? No. And they don't understand that those are conflicting desires, right? And that's what's happening. They want to exert their power and be this Republican Party that emerges as this fresh, new, awesome, powerful face. But really, to get that power, they are turning the Republican Party to ash. Yep. And normies hate that. Normies also have conflicting ideology where they're like, I like my congressperson, I hate my Congress. But in this scenario, it's really hard for them to, they've made it so easy for the average Joe to look, and Josephine to look at the frickin', Congress and say, wow, the Republicans are a mess right now.
For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.